Hello everyone and welcome to my corner of the world. Today I'm going to share another video with you on mastering ribbon, and this time we're going to talk about knots. And so I have a few here, a few knots, a little flat one there, and if you like you can call them faux knots because they're not sort of true knots. And that will come clear in a minute when I explain. So this one here, again, it looks like I've put the ribbon round the card and tied a knot. And the same with this one, and the same with this one. And you probably know from your own experience, being able to get the ribbon nice and tight and get a good knot in there can be difficult. So this is the way that I deal with it. So I have my piece of cardstock, and you can imagine that it's got stamping on it or embossing or whatever have you. And then I'm going to take my piece of ribbon, and this is 3/8 here. And if I'm going to add it to my card, I'm just going to cut a piece, and I always keep a pair of scissors dedicated to ribbon. So that they stay nice and sharp, because paper will kill the edge of ribbon in a heartbeat. So then with some snail, I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of snail in the middle there just to hold it in place. I'm going to place and just firm that down, flip it over, and then put some snail either side, and then I like to look at it and make sure that it's level. So you can leave it like that and it should be fine, but I have a terrible fear of my cards being pulled out the envelope and then falling apart. So I always put just a tiny little bit of adhesive tape on the back, and then with a bone folder I'm gonna just smooth it out, make sure it's really stuck well. And so there I've got my ribbon going round without having to struggle to get a knot. So now to put my knot on, I'm just going to run a piece of ribbon through and just literally tie a knot and snip it off however long I want it, and there we are. That's a weeny bit on the long side. So that looks as though I've wrapped a piece of ribbon around there and tied it, and it's all nice and tightly tucked together, but in fact we've got a little bit of a faux deal going on there. And I do this partly to save ribbon, but more to save bulk on the card, particularly as I mail a lot of my cards overseas. So that's one way. Now the other type of knot I do is exactly the same. I'm going to run some ribbon round, and this time I'm going to just use a couple of glue dots when I can find them to hold them in place, and you can do that like that. I'm just going to put a glue dot there to hold it in place, and then flip it over. Use my snail, make sure it's all looks level and good, and I will go ahead and I put some of my tape on the back. And then I'm going to make my other type of knot, and I'm just going to literally, keeping my ribbon flat as possible, I'm just going to pull it so that it kind of comes out with a little V like that, and then trim. And oh, there's my glue dots. Take my glue dot, push it on there, and then place it on on my card there. And so that gives you sort of your faux knot. Either way works very beautifully. With this smaller one, you don't necessarily need to have it on a ribbon. Here's one where I've just used it as a little twist, just to give a little bit of a feature on the front of my card. Well, I hope this has been useful for you on mastering your ribbon and tying some faux knots. I really appreciate you tuning in today. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.